Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Everybody comfortable?
Yeah.
Get your motherfucking ass up when I'm talking.
And here we go.
And welcome to another live stream. This might be a shorter one than last time. The last one was like 30 minutes. Yeah, but I didn't have a whole lot to talk about. This one, I just got one thing to talk about, Shazam 2, which I really loved the first one. It was fun. It was funny. It was action packed, and there were a lot of horror elements that I took to. Like I'm a horror fan also, and the director of the first one, I think he's directing this one too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let me look it up. This guy, he has an eye for horror, so that's why, like, when you get the demons introduced, it's pretty, it's pretty horrific and awesome. I love the scene in the boardroom when they're just tearing those people apart, and uh, and yeah, the other people outside are looking in like, oh shit, we better get the hell out of here. Shazam, if you don't know, his original name was Captain Marvel from Fawcett Comics, and then eventually became a DC character. And they were forced to change the name to Shazam, which is the wizard's name he gets the powers from. But yeah, he was originally called Captain Marvel, and because Marvel was using the name Marvel, they decided we shouldn't have this character from a competing company using the same name. That's gonna like possibly damage our brand or confuse people. So yeah, they had them change the name, and that's why. Yeah, that was a big deal, a big lawsuit. So even in the early 2000s, they were still calling him Captain Marvel. He was in the Justice League Unlimited for a little bit, and they called him Captain Marvel. And there was even one of the movies, Batman and Superman and Batman: Public Enemies. He appeared in that still as Captain Marvel. It was only like recently that they just changed his name entirely to Shazam. So you got Thaddeus Savannah. He's like a big bad uh, Captain Marvel slash Shazam villain. I guess I'll have to use the word Shazam to refer to him, just so there's no confusion. And so he's in this. Well, he was in the first one as Mark Strong plays him. He's good at playing villains. He's been in a bunch of things. Green Lantern as Sinestro. I thought he was great. Sad that we never got a follow up to that. The movie just bombed big time and people hated it. And then it so much so that it got spoofed in Deadpool. That was funny, actually. That was really funny. But so you got him in the first one, and then at the end they teased the other villain, Mr. Mind, this little caterpillar-looking creature who he tells them like we the seven realms will be ours. So in this movie, I guess you don't see anything from them at all. I was hoping we'd get a follow up with them in the sequel, but instead we're getting these new characters, these goddesses. I'm trying to see what characters they are playing. It's Helen Mirren, and she is playing Hespera, a daughter of Atlas. Lucy Liu as Calypso, a daughter of Atlas. Jamon Hunsu's back as Shazam. I love that guy. He's been in a bunch of stuff, DC and Marvel both. And we got I saw Rachel Ziegler. She's the one playing Snow White in the live action. We'll see how that turns out. She's playing Anthea, a daughter of Atlas, another daughter of. Okay, so they're all daughters of Atlas. Where is Atlas at this point? I wonder. So Shazam gets his powers from let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gods. The wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules. Okay, okay. Wait, Solomon's not a god, so I don't know why they included him in that. Just to have the S, I guess. The stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. Okay, so not all of them were gods, but yeah, he gets attributes from different figures from Greek mythology. Mercury, if you don't know, that's the Roman equivalent of Hermes. Atlas is the guy that holds up the world. Achilles, of course, from Troy, Trojan War. And Zeus, who couldn't keep it in his pants. I just recently saw a graph of like, why everything goes wrong in Greek mythology. Like, what causes most of the problems in Greek mythology, and the biggest piece of the pie was Zeus just couldn't keep it in his pants. That made me laugh. That was from a Greek mythology class I took. I just stumbled across that while updating my resume. So Zachary Levi is back as the Billy Batson as Shazam. Asher Angel plays the younger Billy Batson. So yeah, he was in the first one too. Jack Dylan Grazer as Adam Brody. Oh, and Adam Brody, my bad. As Freddie Freeman. He's the kid that shit, that Billy befriends in the first one. The kid with the crutches. Eugene Choi, Billy's younger foster brother. Yeah, who's an obsessive gamer. Okay, so I guess all the cast from the first one is back except for the main villains from the first one. That's what makes me sad. I wanted to see more of Savannah and Mr. Mind. So, um, okay, to address the elephant in the room, this movie is coming out after already Warner Brothers already having announced a complete reboot of the DC films. So already fans are like, okay, what point is there to go see these movies? Because you're just rebooting everything anyway. Now the filmmakers will try to, you know, push back on that. Like, why don't you just go to enjoy it as this, fun standalone movie? Because Shazam was kind of its own thing apart from the DC films at large, even though they did stick references to Batman, Superman, and whatnot in the movie. Uh, but yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping it's still good. I do like Zachary Levi as this character. I do like the dynamic between him and the family. Like that's the main selling point for me from the first one. Like that's what I enjoyed the most. At the end when they all become the superheroes, like that was my favorite part. Because he saw their relationships develop throughout the movie. And I liked the stuff in the first one with him tracking down his mom and then finding out, oh, she just she just gave me up because she knew she couldn't handle uh, raising me. Like this, that was pretty tough. Uh, like to see his character go through that, but yeah, that was part of his development, which I really like when characters change in a movie. Like they become more heroic, because before he was kind of selfish and like just kind of hated the world, and now he's become more hopeful, which I really like. So I'm gonna get into this here. This article. This comes to us from Bounding into Comics. Shazam! Fury of the Gods box office outlook looks abysmal. Now this can be blamed on Warner Brothers announcing another reshuffle after like three already. This will be the third one, I think. A retooling. Not a soft reboot this time, though. A hard reboot, from what the reports all say. even though they're trying to say that like, oh, we might keep some of these actors in the new uh I almost said new 52, the new DC films era. Like he might come back as Shazam, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back. I think this is his last hurrah as this character. Uh, Not to say that he won't play another character later, but they're gonna try to avoid confusion by just not having anybody play the same characters in this new era. Like Gal Gadot is probably not gonna be back as Wonder Woman. We already know Henry Cavill's not gonna be back as Superman. They made sure of that. And that's what pissed a lot of people off. At the end of Black Adam, he shows up, and then right after that, like a month or so after that, they say, "Oh, he's actually not going to be he's not going to be Superman anymore." So we were all just like, "What the fuck?" Warner Brothers, you're so stupid. They're still the dumbest company on the face of the planet, and I'll stand by that statement. Fury of the Gods box office outlook looks abysmal as early predictions note it will make far less than the first film. Yeah.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Yeah. I don't have many clips from the Warner Brothers movies, but yeah, that one is certainly appropriate for this. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Like you've just gotten rid of more goodwill that you had, after announcing that Henry Cavill's back as Superman. See, Warner Brothers didn't announce it, but they might as well have by sticking him at the end of Black Adam with that scene and having Henry Cavill announce that he was back as Superman on social media. Like that's as much as announcing that things are happening when you let the stars go out and announce it, and then you stick a teaser at the end of a movie. Like this is a no brainer. Box office tracking website Box Office Pro shared their long range predictions for Shazam Fury of the Gods towards the end of February, predicting the film would only have an opening weekend between 43 and 52 million domestically. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's pretty bad for a superhero movie now. The outlet went on to predict the film would only make a total domestic gross between 101 million and 136 million. Oh god, how much did they spend on this? Oh, wait. I wonder if it gets into the budget. I could look it up real quick. God, because oh yeah, 125 million is the reported budget. Usually they report though like uh 50 million less than it actually costs. So this is gonna bomb. I'm calling it right now. This is gonna bomb. These predictions are well below the box office haul of the first film, and that's without even factoring in inflation. The original Shazam film had an opening weekend gross of 56.8 million. I think the first one it had a lower budget. I want to say, let me see. Can't remember, but I remember that. Yeah, it was such a low budget that they profited a ton off of that one. Oh yeah, 80 to 100 million was the first one. I don't know why though. They always feel the need to go to up the budget when a movie does well. You're like you don't have to. You can just spend around the same amount you did as the first one. Like I'm wondering if they upped the budget for the Joker 2 since that did so well. They had such a small budget for the first one and then it blew up. It got $1 billion. Yeah, I'm wondering. So the film went on to earn 140.3 million at the domestic box office. See the first one, the weekend gross was 56.8 million. It would tack on another 223.1 million at international box offices for a global gross of 363.5 million. Yeah, they need to keep their budgets small if they want to make back a large profit. Because the huge freaking budgets, I think they're played out now. Like you gotta go back to basics and be more conservative with your budgets. Ant Man that cost them 200 million. That's what they reported, around 200 million. Yeah, that's a bomb. Not only were original predictions from Box Office Pro abysmal, but Just a week later, the outlet adjusted their predictions significantly down. While primarily focusing on John Wick Chapter 4's predictions, I wonder if that's coming in the same weekend. Oh god, that's gonna destroy this movie if that comes out the same weekend. They adjusted Shazam Fury of the Gods opening weekend haul down 17%. Their new predictions saw the film only opening between 35 and 44 million. The domestic gross was also adjusted 17% down. They now predict the movie will only bring in 82 million and 115 million domestic. Wow. Most recently, while sharing their prediction for the Super Mario Brothers movie, the outlet adjusted their predictions down even further. Is that coming around the same time? Jeez. Are all these coming around the same time? They now predict the film will only bring in between 32 and 42 million in its opening weekend and only earn between 77 and 110 million in its entire domestic run. I think this comes out next week. I want to say, yeah, like 17th. When does Mario come out? I don't even know. As for why they keep adjusting their estimates down, the outlet explains sales have slowed down over the past week relative to key comparison points as overall modeling softens on the sequel's outlook when debuting next week. As for why sales have slowed down, the outlet doesn't say, but it could be a multitude of reasons. First, the future of the franchise appears to be dead, with James Gunn and Peter Safran being hired as the new DC Studios CEOs.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Black Adam and Dwayne Johnson's future as the character was terminated shortly after the film flopped at the box office. Johnson made that revelation in December 2022. James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in their first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and $7 have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters. To that end, Shazam, Fury of the Gods actress Grace Caroline Curie, who plays Mary Marvel, revealed she's not being contacted by DC to continue in the role in future projects. She told the Direct, I got excited about the slate because I know James Gunn just brings so much to comic book lore and he's so well versed. So yeah, I'm not in the conversations, of course. I'm along for the ride. And when they say Grace, it's time. I'm there. I'm really, really curious. I'm really interested to see what comes up with this slate. And I think there's going to be a whole new breadth too to just the world. And yeah, I'm really curious. Gunn also claimed that the Flash would reset the DC universe when he made his Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters announcement. He opened the video saying, First we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That statement makes no sense. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. He's just saying what the company wants him to say right there. As noted above, Gunn already sees Shazam in a limbo, and if indeed The Flash does reset the entire DCU, it puts the film in even more of a limbo as it is connected with the DCEU with Billy Batson and Freddie Freeman, making references to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Yeah. One fan even expressed the confusion and chaos around the DCU as a reason why he doesn't plan to see the film. Sandberg seemed to confirm his fears, indicating that the film's box office determines whether or not Gunn, Safran, and DC Studios continue with more films about Shazam. Sandberg tweeted, He definitely won't if people don't go see the movie. What I've been told is that there's nothing in the Shazam films that contradict the future plans for DC. So the possibility for more Shazam is there, and if that's what you want, your best bet is to go see the film. Me, me and my brother are gonna go see this, but uh, I do not think we will see any more of this character for a while. Especially not played by Zachary Levi. Like this is probably his last superhero project, at least for now. The movie also eschewed its setup from the first film, sidelining Mr. Mind and Dr. Savannah in favor of the Daughters of Atlas. Yeah, I thought that was stupid. Why? Why would you get rid of those guys in place of these characters that nobody's ever heard about? Unless it was just for diversity points. They got 3 women versus 1 man, and granted, the family, the whole Marvel family is still, well, I guess they call them the Shazam family now, is still involved, but it's supposed to be his story though, primarily. Doctor Director David F. Sandberg explained this decision to Gizmodo, saying, "First of all, we looked at the comic books, what they were doing, but that didn't feel like a good fit for what this movie needed to be. Then, of course, since we did set up Mr. Mine at the end of the first one, we did start looking at treatments and things where it did involve Mr. Mine and Savannah. At one point, it was actually Mr. Mine who enabled the sisters to come here because it was part of a bigger plan of his. But it was just too much story to tell for this movie, so we had to lose Mr. Mine and Savannah for this time. So they were in there originally, but not as the main villain." So it looks like they were setting Mr. Mind up to be this big bad, like Thanos level villain. He's the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes, which I probably would have liked. But yeah, now it's just the Daughters of Atlas. I guess are pissed for some reason, so they're coming after Shazam. But I don't know what's going on. So they retooled it. I don't know how many times. Asked why he chose the Daughters of Atlas, Sandberg responded, "Here was a lot of back and forth on what to do because we wanted to have something in the real world but bring something cool here. And then the idea was that Shazam's powers are from Greek gods and mythology and all of that." He continued, "So it's like, oh, if the powers were stolen and then given to him, that gives a motivation that you can understand with the sisters. I mean, they do have a point here. They go about it in a bad way, but they do have a point. And I thought that was really cool to sort of mix mythology and superheroes because superheroes are kind of modern mythology in some ways." I see where he's going with that, but I also think we need to stop with this sympathetic villain crap. Like, just make them straight up evil. Like, we need to get back to classic villains. We need to stop trying to sympathize with every villain we come across. Understand their motivations. Sure, you can quote unquote understand their motivations, but that doesn't mean they have to be right. Like, the film will also push identity politics with the film's screenwriter Henry Gayden telling Dorkaholics he plans to make it clear to viewers that Pedro Pena is a homosexual. Yeah, I heard that. I vaguely remember the character in the first one saying like, uh, it's not really my thing. When somebody was pointing out a beautiful woman to him or something, so oh, not really my thing. Yeah, that was the only like hint we even got that he might be homosexual. Gayden said the only new addition for this movie is being a lot more forthright about Pedro being gay, and that was hinted at in the first movie very subtly. Gayden added, and I thought it was really important and really, really fought for us, including that and bringing that to the fore in this movie. Bravo for you. Maybe the biggest reason is the film simply looks like a generic superhero CGI fest with unfunny modern pop culture references that are already dated. Yeah, this is made at least 2 years ago. Yeah, so yeah, the references probably are dated. From the trailers, the film doesn't appear to have any of the family charm that the first film had. Sandberg and company appeared to have traded it in for what he describes as a mini Avengers movie. Uh, it's like a mini Avengers movie, he told Games Radar. That's how I saw it because there are so many characters. You have all these heroes, you have the villains, you have the monsters. It's a lot of movie packed into its runtime, and it's complicated. Just shooting and staging up to 11 characters in a scene, where do you put everyone? It's really hard. You probably didn't need 3 Daughters of Atlas to be in this, like, maybe just 1. I don't know why you felt the need to have 3 extra characters in this, when you coulda just had Dr. Savannah and Mr. Mind, and maybe 1 more character if you wanted to. Like, yeah, there was never any need for 3 daughters. He added, "On the first one, we had a lower budget and it was a smaller movie. It felt like we can't really compete with the other superhero movies for action and scale, so we have to focus on character and humor, what makes it different. On this one, we got more resources so we could actually compete with the other superhero movies." So, the question posed at the end of this is, why do you think the box office estimates for Shazam Fury of the Gods continue to decline and are looking worse than the first film? I wonder if they got comments at the end. Oh, yeah. They got comments. I always go to the comments. They say not to go to the comment section, but you tell somebody to do something, they'll just do the opposite. And I'm one of those people. It doesn't help that it doesn't look good as the first film, and that make most folks know it's done as part of the DCU. Yeah. If the first film was successful, why abandon the plans? Captain Marvel has been around for nearly 100 years, and you need a new story? Holy moly, TDS and wokeism renders people insane. I don't know what TDS had to do it, but all right. Generally, most sequels bring in 80% of the prior movie's box office, so these prediction numbers fall in line with this formula. The exception is if there's an early vibe that a strong interest in the sequel is building, but there's been none for Fear of the Gods, then you throw in all these other factors, some mentioned above. The new DCU coming, superhero fatigue growing, possibly. No, that's bad movie fatigue. The last couple of superhero movies being underwhelming. See, like I said, it's just a string of bad movies that puts people off. Ant-Man 3, Black Adam, Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange 2 should be in there too. And a lot of the shows that were terrible. What you call it? Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, the other one, Moon Knight, WandaVision. It started out great, the ending sucked. There are a lot of other major movies that may be more interesting to the normies. I wonder if Fear of the Gods could bring in less than 80% of its predecessor, maybe 70%. I can see my mom wanting to see this just for the creatures, the crazy creatures running around. Like, she saw the trailer and she was like, "Oh, what is this?" I was like, "You remember Shazam? We watched that." My mom is the definition of a normie. uh, but she'll be watching that Dungeons and Dragons movie with me and my brother because that actually looks fun. I don't care what the director said about I want to emasculate the male lead. We all know they're trying to do that nowadays. It's like, just give us a fun adventure movie. Stop talking about all these identity politics. And then this guy said it. But Zachary Levi is not a box office magnet, nor is Shazam a box office magnet. No, he's not wrong. Shazam has never been as popular as like Superman or Batman. The real fury comes from the fans, and it comes not with a bang, but a box office whimper. I just had to play that one more time because it's true. People are just gonna boycott these movies coming out just because they're so pissed at Warner Brothers for being so dumb. They had all these great actors playing these great roles. They just fumbled the ball so many times with the writing, the directing, and then they just like they keep putting their these announcements out before just making a good movie. Like, just stop announcing things. It's the same problem Lucasfilm has with Star Wars. They keep announcing things and then they get canceled midstream because somebody's not jiving together. The director's maybe not jiving with Kathleen Kennedy. It's so stupid.
I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
Exactly. Make something good and people will flock to it. But that's all I have to talk about for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.